Yeah, he's not looking at what's going on. Why are they still talking about CM Punk?
Well,
Why are there
the
still
company's not
rumors?
talking about CM Punk.
Huh?
The company's not talking about CM Punk.
Well, he's getting his name out there all the time.
Well, there's a difference between getting your name out there. But here's the thing, just so you know, because you may have forgotten, but
Well, help me
he
out then.
can't wrestle. He's injured.
Who?
So he Punk. At that last pay-per-view, he either tore his pec or his bicep or tricep or something, but he's out. So he's nursing an injury. So even if he wasn't,
No, but does he work for AEW or not?
yeah, he gets a paycheck every other week or so.
But so I thought they were going to fire him.
Nobody said that.
I know, but how do you have a melee like that and there's no consequence?
Well, I mean, guys used to fight all the day in the back. I don't.
Guys used to. I'm talking about today.
Well, I mean, here's my question. Like, just to, we're both pretty close.
I'm happy he's getting a paycheck. Don't misunderstand me. But you're not. I don't want anybody to take this slant. But it's the rumors, and if that's what creates business, then good for them. But I look at it, and it's nobody knows what's going on
Right.
in the AEW. Nobody knows. At WWE, everybody knows their role jabroni. Now I'm using rock stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would you not agree?
Well, listen, I'll be honest. I'm not there, so I don't know what everybody knows or doesn't know. But I do know that there's a whole lot of people in AEW who are making a great living and not being asked to do a whole terrible lot. So
that I'm in total agreement with you.
Feels like that's a pretty good deal to me.
It's a great deal. But
Yeah.
if you want to be a worker and you want to be on TV and you want to become the greatest or whatever you aspire to do besides make a check, you got to be on TV working.
Right.
Right?
I'm not arguing that.
Did you get great with your mortgage business by not going to the office?
No.
Are you getting? You're the greatest podcaster now, or one of them in the world. Are you doing it by having somebody else do your shows?
No.
Well, you've got to be visible. You got to take the good with the bad, but you've got to be visible to get great.
Yeah.
It's what it is. You got to go to work. And I mean, shit, we all like getting paid, but not if you want to be great.
Well, I guess the question is, if you're one of the talent who are excited to have the AEW opportunity and very happy and pleased with your financial terms, but maybe you're frustrated with your ability to find a spot on TV because it is a big roster. Mm-hmm. What's the path forward? What would your advice be?
It's a big roster that's getting an 800 credit score.
Yeah,
840,000 viewers.
Yeah.
So the great roster ain't getting any numbers. Agreed?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I have this conversation with Eric all the time. We don't know how the network feels about those numbers. I think a lot
of the network loves it because they love programming.
So that's where their money's coming from. So that's a win, right?
I don't know, but I mean, if you're not going anywhere in terms of numbers, which means are the numbers not reflective of the number of people that are watching?
I'm not arguing that. That's 100% accurate.
Yeah. So less people are watching than ever.
Well, we can't say that. I mean, there were 1 million people who watched 2 weeks ago.
I know, but
I know down last week.
I know. I'm saying, but I'm not being critical of anything. I'm just saying that the greatest roster in the world. Would you not agree? After 3 years, they should stay at a 1 at least.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think everybody wishes that the ratings were higher, no doubt.
That's not what I said. Do you not think after 3 years that they should be averaging a 1 every week?
I don't. I think AEW has identified the ceiling. I don't think realistically we're going to wake up in a world where AEW is twice as big as they are this time next year or the year after that. I just think there's only a certain amount of people who are going to watch the program the way they consume the program. I think a lot of people keep up with the product online and through other sources that aren't just watching a set top box. I don't think WWE's ratings are going to grow. We all agree WWE's creative is better than ever. Why haven't the ratings doubled? There's just not that much interest in wrestling. I think we found our
Well,
quote unquote class.
I didn't say doubled, but they're staying over 2 million viewers every week on SmackDown, and they're averaging like 1.8 with no football on Raw. Those are good. Those are damn good numbers.
It's also broadcast versus cable, and it's Friday night versus Wednesday night. I mean, Friday night and Wednesday night are probably the two least desirable television nights.
But it's Monday and Wednesday.
Right, right. No, I was referencing the AEW product.
Yeah.
I I get where you're going. You would like to see the ratings growing, and you would like to see the company growing its audience. It feels as if they're not growing. I would argue that they're not dying, though. I would say that the ratings have
Oh, I
been
didn't know,
large
and
stable.
in no way, shape, and form said are they dying. But I'm just saying, you know, the one thing I am out is I'm out a lot. I do a lot of autograph signing and that. And as I told you in the old days, I could walk through an airport and I knew there was something going on.
Right.
Right? I don't hear anything. I hear more about my documentary.
What So I missed this. You saw Kenny Omega like teasing a jump?
No, they were talking about. Unfortunately, because we're in this business, I look at the other podcasts and look at stuff
Oh, I see.
when I
And there's
work out.
speculation that he might be leaving.
Yeah, I mean, so
I
if
mean,
I'm
listen, I'm
ta-
gonna be honest. I think it's inevitable that Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and a lot of those guys have a run with Vince McMahon. And I know that probably upsets some folks, but the reality
no,
is
no, no, I hope they do.
I
But
think
if
they
I'm
will.
Tony Khan, I got a guy working in human real or in talent relations saying, "Shut the fuck up."
Right,
Really, you think Vince would tolerate it?
right,
No, really. I think Tony is becoming so enamored with the product. Like I said to you the other day, and he's also very not enamored, so personally attached to the product
right.
as he is with the football as well, right?
What would you what what would you do if you were in Tony Khan's seat? Because it feels as if you think there is a formula or a strategy. What would be your strategy to grow the audience?
I would continue to own the company, but I would let somebody fresh book it.
Okay.
I mean, you know what? Because he books, he runs it, but he also is very vested personally in that football, which he takes a lot of pride in. And the Jaguars are getting better, which I'm really happy for them for. And Doug Peterson and the quarterback and all that are really improving, and they'll probably be in the playoffs next year. So that what I'm saying is Tony has to divide his time and his passion between two things. And sometimes, yeah, I think you know how Vince doesn't like to delegate authority. Well, in this case, he's delegated a lot of authority, or however it transpired, to Hunter, and it's working, right?
Right.
But he still has his hand on it. Does that make sense, Vince? I'm sure.
I'm sure he does. Yeah.
So that's what I would just suggest to Tony, that maybe he step back, he's got and let somebody, you know, take a look at it. I even said, like, I mean, I was making a joke to you, but a guy like you that watches it
Oh,
and,
come on.
and studies like you could book the show.
Well, I mean, listen, if he was going to bring in people just to help consult with booking, I mean, I would think you'd want to talk to Dutch Mantel and Kevin Sullivan. I mean, those guys have written a lot of TV over the years.
Yeah, but it's old time TV. See, you're the one. You're the first to remind me of that. It's old TV.
I'm not arguing that. I'm just thinking Tony has enough of the new school representation in him. Maybe combining some of the old school stuff could work too, because this bloodline storyline and a lot of what's worked is what Eric Bischoff would call discipline. You know, they really took their time with this. They didn't rush it. They
Oh, that's a credit to guys like Bruce and
For
Ed
sure.
Koskey. I mean, to work there for 20 years like Bruce and Ed Koskey have, it's a miracle.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
a tough, insensitive job,
Yeah,
and to where Hunter sits, having to make all these decisions, deal with talent relations. I mean, it's a lot. It's a long day. I mean, I was just there. I watched it,
right,
and if he gets 2 minutes to himself, same with Bruce, same with Ed. You know what I mean? And I just think sometimes if you step back and find somebody that I would never go to an old school. I would find somebody that I had confidence in, and take some of the pressure off of the management of the booking end of it, instead of letting. I'm actually of the opinion that the guys book themselves.
Right.
Does that make sense? If
Yeah.
I'm watching a show, I think Chris Jericho has probably
No
a lot
doubt.
to say. Huh?
No doubt.
Has a lot to say about what he does. Obviously, the Young Bucks have a lot to say about what they do. Obviously, Kenny Omega does, and I understand Kenny's a very smart guy. I've only met him a few times, but what a nice guy.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got too many people with the creative control or whatever they have in their contract.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. And I think, the rap has been for a long time that wrestling fans didn't like writers in wrestling. I think, knowing how WWE is doing now without a certain filter, their creative seems like it's as good or better than ever. And
absolutely.
it's with a team of writers. And if
Yeah,
there's criticism on the other side, well, there's not a team of writers. So I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way. I just think, hey, when it's good, it's good. And when it's not, it's not.
yeah. But yeah. Okay, then let's leave it at this. The WWE has agreed in principle to let their things work,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
and it's changed, moving people in and out. Tony hasn't changed a thing in 3 years. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can tell that it's still Tony booking for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, why not give it a shot, somebody else a shot? This is not knocking Tony. I'm just saying,
You're right.
he's on a private jet flying to the football. He doesn't miss a football game. He
No.
sits with his dad. I mean, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't attend some practices.
Oh,
He
I'm
like
sure.
he
Yeah.
likes the football. Plus, he runs a soccer team over in Europe,
It's a lot.
hands on. So why not try plugging somebody else in new, just to see how it works? Someone that can tell everybody, hey, this is the way it's going to be.
Right.
You don't like it? The WWE is not going to take all of you. I can
Right.
guarantee you.
Right.
Not at the money you're making here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be an interesting couple of years because I do think AEW has been in a state of transition. You look back to the way it launched in 2019 and what the company looked like